Jackson, obviously that Haven game in the sub-state championship last year was a pretty tough one. Talk to me about that game and then also how it motivated you for this season.
We pretty much overlooked Haven. To go in that game, we kind of got shell-shocked at the beginning of it. I think we were down like 10-0 or something like that, and so we were trying to fight our way back the entire game.
That was a tough loss. You know, I reflect on it probably harder than most and take losses fairly hard. And it was the third year since the last time we'd been back to state that we're in that situation in the finals of a sub-state, you know, and we lose.
It was really disappointing because we beat them early in the season in a blowout win. We were expecting it to be an easy game in the championship.
We were trying to fight our way back the entire game, and we got really close there in the fourth quarter, but we just had a couple of costly turnovers that were probably my fault, and that just really cost us and probably lost us the game. And so I just told myself that year that, you know how that feels now. I'm never going to have that happen again.
Obviously a tough loss. Even 2 minutes ago, down 10, I thought we were still going to pull it out. There was never really that doubt in my mind until the buzzer hit 0 at the end of the game. Obviously the emotions kind of stormed in for all of us, especially Max Arnold. Obviously his senior year, we were all expecting to make it to state and see how we would do last year in that aspect.
The nice thing is I think everybody took that pretty hard. There's a lot of different ways you can go when you have a loss. You can kind of roll over and be done, or you can bounce back stronger. And we got better, we grew up, we got a year older.
Richardson now working right, gives it to Schrader. 10 seconds remain, now 9, 8. Schrader cross court to Richardson. Richardson, the alley-oop. Oh my goodness! The two-handed slam by Braden Schilling. Good night, Livin. Oh! Oh, is he gonna dunk it? Is he gonna dunk it? Oh, he does indeed.
Nick, how was that Buhler game in terms of preparation and getting ready to take on one of the top teams before it?
We thought it was going to be a tough game. We battled. That was probably one of our best games of the season. So coming out and winning by like 30 felt amazing. Yeah, it was just a good game for all of us, really.
We just went into that game with a fundamental standpoint there, and we just played defense great. They had a kid named Max Alexander or something. He got his 25 points, but he was going to get that regardless, and we just needed to stop the rest of the team there. We got the job done.
Last year, I think we were ranked number 1 in 3A. I think Buhler was number 2 in 4A, and they're a good team. I thought we were ready to play, and we came out of the gate aggressive, and we did a good job on Alexander. That was our forte all year. If nothing else, we were always good defensively. I mean, we had very few games where we were not good defensively.
Team, we lost to Lions by, I believe, 5 in double overtime. Talk to me about what went wrong in that game.
I'm not sure that anything went wrong. I honestly think if you had asked those Lions guys, they would have said that was their game of their lives. And I'm not sure that even in sub-state I was really afraid of playing them again, because I knew they weren't going to be able to shoot that well or play that well, and we had just played bad. So they gave us all they got, and it still took double overtime to get us. But I did tell the guys after that game that they had just won their state championship and that we were going to get ours later in the season.
Yeah, obviously that loss, didn't expect it. Lions played really well, and we, quite frankly, didn't.
It just showed us that we weren't unbeatable and that we needed to play hard every game. And at that point, I think we were kind of just going through the season, and we're just better than everyone else. But after that game, we picked it up and made sure to play hard every game.
Our locker rooms were right next to the Lions locker room, and we could hear how excited they got after they beat us. And I mean, that just lit a fire, and we were hungry after that. We were really hungry after that, and from then on, we just took off.
I don't like to lose, but it probably brought us back to the fact that on any given night, it can happen. And Lions is a very good team, so very well coached. So I got out coached, we got beat, and then it was on to those next two.
Growing up and playing with these guys, it's like second grade. I mean, we've kind of been through it all. You know, we've seen blowout wins, we've seen big losses, and I think playing since all the way back then, you know, being around each other every single day for so long, I think it shows us truly who we are. And so when you see us in these tough positions and, you know, like close games and everything, I think we fall back on training.
Well, at the end of the game, we all just kind of were sitting there in silence for a little bit. And then I remember, I think it was Jackson said something like, it's time to step it up, you know. And after that game, we stepped it up. We went on a big run after that.
I thought we bounced back. If there's, again, one thing about this team, I thought we were very resilient and very team-oriented. You know, it'd be easy to lose to Lions and want to point fingers at whoever, but, you know, I never heard that, like, oh, you know, you didn't do this or you didn't do that. I was really happy against Hillsboro, just the defensive effort that we gave over there. I mean, that game, after we lost to Lions, became very important within the league. You know, we pretty well put it to them. And Hoisington, you know, we probably owed them a little bit too, just like Haven from the year before. I was happy how we responded. We got them on our home court. I think that was one of the first games back where we actually had a little bit of a crowd. So.
We bounced back the next practice, tried to forget about it. Having to play Hesston, historically a really good team, and then having to play Hillsboro, again, that motivated us. And honestly, that one loss did really good for us.
First round of sub-state going against Halstead. Not the greatest team, arguably one of the worst teams in 3A. What's the mentality going into a game like that?
One problem that we've always had throughout the season was playing at the level of our competition. Halstead, like you said, was not very good throughout the entire season. I don't even think they won a single game. It was a new year for them. They had some really young guys, but it was good for us because they knew that they didn't have anything to play for, so they would play really tough and physical, and we needed that. It was good to keep our patience and not try to start something they didn't get in our heads, which was good.
We're obviously going to highlight that first round of sub-state game against Halstead. Walk me through that technical foul that you picked up there on the baseline.
Well, as I remember, a shot went up and I was trying to box out. And somehow, you know, I was arm bar. And somehow this kid was a little shorter and he got under my arm and got a little tangled up. And the ref happened to see that, I guess I put him in a headlock somehow. I don't really remember that, but the ref saw that, gave me a tech, and well, yeah, that's kind of how that happened.
And then, right after that, long talk with the referees, crowds starting to get a little chippy back and forth. You walked down, proceed to hit 2 threes in the final 3 minutes or so. What was that like?
I mean, I gotta be honest, it was a lot of fun. The student section was going kind of crazy. I don't know, it's what I did all year is kind of shoot threes, 3-and-D, and I don't know, it kind of showed there, I guess.
Of all the games, I worried that coming back playing Southeast again, we were looking past them a little bit, and I feel like we did. I didn't feel like we played well against Southeast, but they are very athletic. It's probably a little bit of a shocker and a good thing to have that game there that was a little closer than what it was the first time, and send a little scare through the guys.
And now talking about that second Southeast Saline game, obviously a lot more competitive the second time around. Talk to me how you guys were able to battle back after being down, I believe, 9 at one point in that second half, able to come back and win that game and eventually move on to the Sub-State Championship.
Well, I knew that coming into Sub-State, being able to host it was going to be a key advantage this year, just because having that home court advantage with now having fans back was going to definitely give us momentum going into Sub-State run. So after we cleaned up Halstead, going to Southeast, we knew they were going to be better. We had no idea they would be as good as they were going to be that game. But we just trusted our keys and each other, and Greg got us a little bit motivated after a slow first half. And we just picked our game and included each other and talked on defense. And after that, we weren't scoring in some stretches, but neither were they. So then at the end, when we put some points up on the board, we got it done.
Yeah, so unexpectedly, that was a pretty close game. Kind of needed a guy to step up, and it's just so happened to be me. Shots were falling. Guys were giving me the ball, so it just so happened to work out, and I'm glad it did.
I wouldn't have guaranteed you that Haven was going to beat Lions in that other semifinal, but we kind of set up the rematch with Haven from last year. I believe Haven was one of the top 8 teams in the state, and it sure would have been nice if they'd have been at the state tournament too. But that's not the way it works out, so we had to play them, and I think the guys are ready, and I think we played well.
How did it feel to get revenge on Haven in the Sub-State Championship game after losing in heartbreaking fashion just the year prior?
Well, every year I'd played in the varsity Sub-State tournament, it had been to Haven in my final game of the season. So I told myself that, I'm never going to get another chance to walk on this court if we lose this game.
Then fast forwarding to that Haven Sub-State final, what did it mean to both get revenge on Haven and also to go out there and battle against Darby Roper one last time?
I mean, that kid's good. That kid's really, really good. And he's quick, and I got a lot of respect for him. He's got a lot of good sportsmanship, and I mean, to have the task to guard him is something that, I enjoyed, but it was tough. And it was really tough, but it was nice to just feel that sweetness that we didn't get to feel last year.
I just kind of went out there and played my game. I didn't really done that much before this game. So it felt really nice to come out and actually hit shots to start out the game, and at the end of the game, everyone was hitting, so that was nice. Yeah.
I think we talked about it a lot, being solid and being efficient on offense and things. It goes back to the fact that I really don't think, our guys care who scores points or who's getting the highlight or whatever. If you want to say I've got to double team Kaysen every single time, I truly believe we're always going to have somebody else that can step up and beat you if you give them that opening. So that's again something I'm very proud about our team, is that we were able to do that. And at different times, everybody that was playing stepped up, and everybody that was a part of the team contributed in their own way throughout the season. Getting there is one thing. A lot of teams, their goal is to get to state. Once you get to state, it's kind of whatever. I like to think that we say we're not done when we get to state and we're going to win it. Usually when we make it, we do pretty well.
My mentality going into the state run was just act like we've been there before. We've been a really successful team for as long as Greg's been here, but we were just unable to get back to that state tournament after 2015. And so while none of us had ever played in a state tournament game, I just wanted to act like we had been there and just be calm, be collected, and just go out and play our style of basketball.
While I didn't like the setup and how the state did it, it was to our advantage to have that game on our home court. And I would probably say that of the teams we played at state, Trinity was the best of the three. So having that home crowd and everything was great. Christian Williams is a really good player, and Christian lit us up in that first half when we called on Esau, and he did a great job on him. I think what else, he just kind of wore down and got tired. He missed some shots there towards the end, and again, that's what we do, is just wear on you and keep coming at you.
After what you could probably call a pretty cold first half against Trinity, how are you able to battle back and essentially put the team on your back for stretches in that second half?
Greg just kept telling me to keep shooting. I mean, sooner or later something was going to fall. You can't miss everything in a game. You can't go 0 for 12. They started falling a little bit, and we hit free throws down the stretch. And I don't know about put the team on my back, because Esau carried a lot of weight. Esau was a MVP of that game, in my opinion.
I just know that my role on the team was to be a defensive player. I don't really score many points because I leave that up to Kaysen and other players like that. So I just knew that for me to be a valuable part of the team, I'd have to go and just play defense hard every possession.
One player I want to specifically mention is Christian Williams from Wichita Trinity. He had, I believe, 17 first half points, and then once you were on him in the second half, it seemed like you pretty much locked him up until garbage time when they were down about 10. Talk to me about how you were able to do that.
I didn't start the game on him. Shailen started on him, and he was just starting off hot, shooting and making everything. So once I got into the game, I just knew all their offense was going through him, so we were going to have to block him down. So I was just trying to stay up on him as tight as I could to make him shoot hard shots, and eventually he started missing.
We knew that Trinity was going to be a really good game, and our coaching staff told us that before this game that this was the state championship.
Yes, sir. I knew when it mattered you would. You're paying attention most of the time. All right. Pizza Ranch! Let's go, Pizza Ranch! Ubuntu. Ubuntu. 1, 2, 3. Ubuntu! Let's go, baby!
I mean, to me, it felt like any other game. It was obviously the first game at Hutch. Everybody was a little nervous. I mean, big tournament, big gym, big court. I mean, it started off as any other game, but I mean, I felt it a little bit. Started off with my pull-up, a couple takes to the bucket, couple and ones. I mean, it felt like I was in rhythm, and I hit my stride. I mean, 36 is 36, but a W is a W too.
You know, Kaysen Richardson really, he's just a dog. He went off that game. He scored how many points? 28, something like that? 51? 36? You know, he just put some points on the board for us, give us that extra little push of motivation to overcome TMP there.
You know, Kaysen had some ups and downs during the year, but he can definitely score, and everybody knows. I mean, they spend a lot of time how to shut Kaysen down. So, you know, he had 28 against Trinity and then 36 against TMP. So I think some people had to take notice that maybe hadn't really realized what he was capable of doing offensively. I really think it comes down to that our 1 through 8 or our 1 through 12 or our 1 through 28 is better than other people's. I mean, every day in practice, Kaysen's going to have competition because somebody like Matthew Waltner is guarding him. He gets no credit, but every day he's getting beat up by Kaysen, but he's battling with him and making him better. So you know, those are the things that I think make us really good.
Going up against Kaysen Richardson, it was usually you matched up on him. You give up a couple inches in size, but usually you were putting up a pretty good fight down there against arguably the best player in Kansas. So what was it like going up against him pretty much every day in practice?
No, it was really tough. I had to be really physical, and I think that helped him get better at finishing down low. And it's just a lot of effort that I put in, and I think that made him a lot better.
And then that TMP game, you played very well. You had a couple of nice jelly layups in the second half when the team needed it the most. Obviously, Kaysen had a good game, but you really provided a spark as that second scoring option. What was your mentality heading into that game, and then how were you able to execute the game plan?
Yeah, I couldn't really tell you on that. Those two the first shot I hit, the first jelly, did not know how that was going in, but kind of just threw it up there. And the second one, I felt confident, just knowing I made the first one somehow. Yeah, just a bunch of confidence coming in that game.
And you got to give it to Jackson Schulte too. I mean, he put up 23 in that game, and they could score. They put up a fight, but we just advanced.
I don't think we ever panicked. You know, I don't think we ever lost our cool. There certainly wasn't any bickering amongst each other. You know, calm, cool, collected, and muddled through it. Bottom line, we made it to the state championship game. We're ready to go now. Let's win.
Sir.
You know, it was a pretty physical game, and just our experience throughout the year playing some tough teams just got us through that game real well.
You know, I don't remember specifically saying anything at halftime beyond the fact that, hey, if you'd have told me that the score was, we were only going to score 13 points in the first half and we're going to be ahead by 2, I wouldn't have believed you. But it goes back to our theme, I think, that we were really good defensively. And, you know, even though we weren't scoring, I felt good about it because, I mean, we scored 13, but they only scored 11. So I thought we would get going offensively, and we did the things that we needed to do. We had efficient possessions in that fourth quarter, and it wasn't always case and score. And I mean, Nick and Braden stepped up and made some big baskets. You know, and Esau did a good job clamping down on defense again. So, I mean, Ben is one of the best post defenders. I mean, anybody that we play in the post, and we didn't see as many this year, but you know, that big kid from Galena is, you know, supposed to be very, very, very good. And I don't know what he ended up with, but he didn't get very many, and it wasn't always Ben on him, but for the majority of the time, you know, Ben was there, and that's what I mean. We have our roles, we did our roles, we liked each other, we didn't panic, we didn't freak out. We had older kids that had the experience, and you know, that's helps you win.
I knew that they had Tyler Little, who's obviously a great player and a great post. But I honestly took it pretty personal, as they said that he was going to be the best post in the state, and my job on this team is to, you know, stop posts from scoring. So I took that to heart, and I realized that, you know, obviously I've played good defense on posts my whole life, but I can't do it here in the state championship game, the biggest game of my life, and they didn't really mean much. So I took that to heart, played the best I could, and ended up having 0 points scored on myself. So I take that as an honor, and I'm excited that that helped our team end up getting a state championship win.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, just, I like energy and I like seeing some intensity out there, so any way I can help, and if it's getting up and going, it's pretty easy for me to do. Watching those guys battle and go at it, it's pretty awesome to create some energy and, you know, just let them get after it.
And then finally, what does it mean to you to be a state champion?
Feels pretty honored to be one. Not many people can be a state champion, and it just shows all the hard work you put in just paid off. And now you're a state champion.
Man, it feels amazing. I don't really know any words to describe it. Just feels good.
A lot of us are not even satisfied yet. I think we want to keep pushing and even a better season, run it back. You know, we see what it's like to chase our goals and achieve our dreams, and that we can do it. You know, we've seen teams from everywhere. We've seen teams running everything against us, and if we can do that, I think we can run it back and, you know, back-to-back 2 state champions. That's pretty cool.
Feels great. You know, I've been thinking about this since 2014. They won their state championship.
Everything really. I've been playing ball with these guys forever. Been in Hesston my whole life, and it always has been talk. My junior year, we're gonna win it. We got the guys, we got the shooters, we got the defenders. Everything's in our favor. We're gonna win it, and it happened.
Oh, I mean, it feels great. I mean, we've thought about this year since second grade, so it's nice to see it come true.
I mean, the title of state champion is what we look for all year, right? To be a state champion, it's to be the best. And the title of being the best is pretty cool.
Feels great.
We've always talked about this, like, since we were, like, middle school or younger. So now, like, actually doing it, it's just a great feeling to have.
You know, ever since I was a young kid in elementary school, my goal has always been to win a state championship my senior year. I told myself my freshman year when I got my Instagram account that my first ever post was going to be me with my state championship basketball ring. And so that ring hasn't come in yet, but it is on order, so I will be getting that pretty soon, and that's just a very exciting thing for me.
I put a lot of work in, trying to challenge those guys every day of practice, and it's nice to get rewarded even though I didn't play a ton of varsity.
Kind of means the world right now in high school. Obviously, a lot of guys, we've dreamed about this, talked about this for a long time. And it came with a lot of work, a lot of off-season work, a lot of summers put in, a lot of springs put in just to have this be the final goal. And, we talked about it, but talk can only get you so far. You got to do the work to prove it. And so being able to be on that Hutchinson State floor and win it all means the world. So couldn't be happier, and I'm excited that this is how the journey ended.
Yep, just ask him the question if they were as good as.
All right, we'll put this on the director's cut. Coach, we got like 3 questions left for you.
Oh, you do? Okay. All right. Well, I need a break.
Yeah, that's good. You can take a break.
Well, the $1 million question: would the 2014 team beat this year's team?
Yes.
So, what does it mean to you to be a member of one of the rowdiest student sections in Kansas this year?
It was a true blessing. I really enjoyed it. Every game, especially state championship games, those were really enjoyable. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to announce my retirement. I'm going to be sitting the bench next year on varsity. Sanchi out.
Hey, let's do it again in 22.